Thank you very much, Estella. One more, and I received this on Good Friday. Just let me read to you this. Pope Francis's picture, right? And it says, "It is not necessary to believe in God to be a good person. It is not necessary to believe in God to be a good person. In a way, the traditional notion of God is outdated. One can be spiritual, but not religious. It is not necessary to go to church and give money. For many, nature can be a church. Some of the best people in history do not believe in God, while some of the worst deeds were done in His name." Pope Francis. This was sent to me on Good Friday. I mean, we get this sort of things, right? And I immediately wrote back to the person who sent this to me, and I said, "Stop circulating it." Pope Francis would never say that. On so many counts, it's theologically incorrect. So, we have to be very discerning, my dear brothers and sisters, after hearing what Michelle and Estella have told us this evening, right? Now, to tie this all in, I've been in the media for many years. And in those years, right, my job was to make sure that the right news went out to our listeners, because I was in broadcast. And then a little later on, of course, when the internet came along, we also would post our news articles online, as well as social media. And it still continues somehow in this second life of mine, now as I work for the church. So, now, I found this particular website, and I liked these core principles of journalism, and I'd just like to share it with you. But you don't have to be a journalist. In fact, today they say all of us with mobile phones are given the power to be journalists, right? We become citizen journalists. Actually, it's a nice term for kepo lah. Having said that, to be a good journalist, you also need to be a bit of a kepo. You need to ask the difficult questions, right? Which leads me to, truth and accuracy. Now, it's true that a journalist cannot always guarantee truth, because what we get is from the source. Yes, we will try and verify and check on the news. But sometimes, because newsmakers make their own news, they would make certain claims. And sometimes it's difficult to be able to verify those particular claims. But you still must do your due diligence as a good journalist. You still must ask the difficult questions. What they would normally do is they would give you a media release, and then all the so-called information is there with the data that they want you to know about. The data that they don't want you to know about is never even mentioned. Right? You know. I know. I've been on both sides of the fence. But, I'm not blowing my trumpet here, but the only reason why people still remember me today is because I have lived by the value of being absolutely true and having an etiquette of truth. to the best of my ability. Because if I did not do that, my credibility would have been questioned a long, long time ago. And I would not be standing here before you today, my dear brothers and sisters. I wouldn't dare. I wouldn't dare. So it takes a lifetime to fight and to keep on pressing for the truth. It takes a lifetime. Okay? So, truth and accuracy as best as possible. As best as possible. And it's the same if you receive, a text or a picture that says the most beautiful things. Ask yourself before you send and you share, is this really good stuff? Should I really be sharing this? Because we have also a lot of neophytes in the community, right? And these are still just growing. Their feathers, their wings are all still wet. They're not taken to flight yet. And that's why they're called neophytes, right? They're still babies in the faith. And if you go and throw this sort of thing at them, it's exactly what Jesus said, if whoever misleads one of these little ones, better you put a stone around your millstone around your neck and jump into the lake. So be very, very careful. Okay? Next one, independence. Journalists must be independent voices. All right? We were talking about those with agenda. Messages with agenda. We have to be very careful of that as well. Okay? Fairness and impartiality, I think that speaks for itself. Yeah? Always try to be fair. Look at both sides. You need to look at both sides. And I liked this last one because it says, journalists, number 4 already, journalists should do no harm. If you're a good journalist, whatever you write, whatever you present, whether you put it in writing or you say it on the air, or if you post it on social media, you will not do harm. Not the greatest theological thing, but it's talking about truth at the end of the day. And lastly, accountability. If you have said something, you've got to kichu, right, and say, I said it. And if I am wrong, I had better admit. Right? So that photographer that Estella was talking about, he had to admit. And he said, I'm wrong. Yeah, I shouldn't have done this. Yeah. But if he hadn't been found out, what do you think he would have been doing today? Absolutely. Absolutely. So, be very, very careful. At the end of the day, my dear brothers and sisters, we need to take responsibility. We need to take responsibility. And, okay, is this stuck because my time is up or what? So, Archcoms is trying to hopefully sensitize our Catholic community. Right? Again, going back to Inter Mirifica, I don't have to state all this again. Right? But because technology has enabled us so much, it sometimes actually cripples us. Oddly, yeah? And it's a paradox. We are so enabled, or we cripple ourselves. Okay? So, we have fakenews.catholic.sg. Did you know this? This is not fake news. Yeah. So go there. And this will help you sort of, give you some steps to help you discern, to help your brothers and sisters in the community to discern. Stop and reflect and then act. Right? It's that sort of things. So we have all this here. And if you want to be sure, you can also join our Telegram channel. Okay, it's still a new channel. We're still, we haven't quite marketed this channel. But if you want anything that's authenticated, that's verified, clarified, and truthful from the Catholic Church in Singapore, go and join our channel. Okay, our Telegram channel. That will assure you that whatever you hear or read is the truth. Some of our priests are supposed to have been dead a long time ago. Father so-and-so is dying, or is dead, or, Don't send out this sort of thing. It's not nice. It's not nice. First of all, we need to give respect to the person who is sick and in pain. So instead of being the first one breaking the news that Father so-and-so has died, why don't we pray for him? Pray for his family. Yeah? We get this sort of thing, thankfully not too often, otherwise I'll be really, 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 really super busy all the time. But this came out and we were informed on social media. And people were pressing for a sort of an answer and the church's stance on this. So what we did was we dug out the Catechism of the Catholic Church, right? And we got one of our fathers, Father James Yeo, to give his thought on what tarot cards are all about, really. Okay? And it's a real no-no. Really a no-no. Okay? So all forms of divination are against the first commandment. The first commandment. Alright? So you can check things like this. Right? I was talking about our Telegram channel there. Okay? So go and join Telegram. It's one way. It's one way. So it's a bulletin. Okay? You're not going to get people, if you join that particular channel, you're not going to get people sending you funny messages or anything. No, it'll just come from us. It's one way in that sense. Okay? So it'll be responsible posting from us. Okay? And you can share it with your friends as well. And these are other resources that you can go to help you think through. Right? Help you think through. I know it's a little bit small, but just go to fakenews.catholic.sg. These are resources there. Even chancery notices also. Some people will of course they want to break the news, right? Wow, some people tell us stuff even before we know it. Then we have to, oh really? I mean, hello, we are the official channel. But never mind.